Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the third webinar in the IFAS Beef Cattle Economics webinar series. I'm very glad you were able to join us tonight. Tonight's webinar focuses on using the 2015 UF Beef Cow-Calf budget. This is a computer spreadsheet program that we developed to assist producers with evaluating their costs and returns for cow-calf operations. A common question that I get asked by cattle producers is, why should we prepare a beef cow-calf enterprise budget? And I'd say there's a lot of reasons and uses for a beef cow-calf enterprise budget. A few of those for you to consider is that a beef cow-calf budget helps us get prepared, whether it's planning, monitoring, or controlling our costs, evaluating alternative production strategies, determining economic levels of performance, monitoring and evaluating different marketing opportunities, as well as projecting profitability. All of these things improve the management of your cow herd and hopefully improve your profitability. Now, what is a beef cow-calf budget? A beef cow-calf budget is simply a financial assessment of the costs and returns of your beef cow-calf operation. It can either be actual or projected. So the beef cow-calf budget that you develop is going to be unique and specific to your cow-calf operation. And that's because each producer's cow-calf production system is different. Now, it's always important for us to note that there are different types of cow-calf budgets. Three common types of cow-calf budgets are the returns over cash expenses, the net farm income, and then the net income. The budget analysis that we will use tonight is going to be our net farm income approach. So these three budget types, they do contain some common elements. As you can see, the returns over cash expenses is simply our gross revenue minus our cash expenses. Then the net farm income is our returns over cash expenses minus the fixed cost, plus or minus any inventory adjustments for feed or other supplies on hand. Now, this net farm income budget, it's going to be similar to your federal income tax form Schedule F that you're going to file each year. And then the last budget we're going to look at is our net income budget. And the net income is just simply our net farm income minus any opportunity costs that may occur from operating an enterprise. But again, for the 2015 UF beef cow-calf budget, it's going to be most comparable to our net farm income budget. Now, where can you find the 2015 UF beef cow-calf budget? The 2015 UF beef cow-calf budget is available as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet template on the Range Cattle REC website. The best way for you to get to this page is probably to Google Range Cattle Research and Education Center. Then from the home page, click on Programs. Under Programs, click on the Economics. And then once you're on the Economic page, under Resources, you can see the 2015 UF beef cow-calf budget. After the webinar tonight, I encourage you to go to this website, download the budget template, and then save it to your computer. Then you can begin inserting your own information into the template to start evaluating your cow-calf operation. Now, let's begin discussing the template and the information that's going to be needed for producers to use the beef cow-calf budget. The 2015 UF beef cow-calf budget assumes that you raise your own replacement heifers. We are currently in the process of developing another beef cow-calf budget for those operations that purchase their beef replacement heifers or cows. Now, two of the main things users must understand is that all the data input cells are highlighted in blue, and all the cells that are not highlighted in blue are protected cells that cannot be changed. Additionally, it does take a couple of sittings to enter all of the data into the worksheets. There's about 8 worksheet pages in the CalCAF budget for users to insert their information into. Now, on the page that we're looking at right now, it simply provides users with the basic instructions for using the CalCAF budget, and of course it includes a statement that releases our liability for the use of this budget. Now, over the next several slides, we'll include the headings of various worksheets in the CalCAF budget. Unfortunately, we won't have enough time tonight to go through each of the cells and data input items in detail. Now, our first worksheet is the reproduction worksheet. It's going to record and evaluate the reproduction information for your cow-calf operation. Again, this budget template is designed for those producers that raise their own beef replacement heifers. Now, this is just a portion of the reproduction worksheet. The cells that are highlighted in blue there, these are the cells that users are going to insert their data into. Now, the reproduction worksheet, it records the animals that enter and leave the breeding herd during the year. It's going to calculate several efficiency variables for us, like the number of animals that become pregnant or open, the culling percentage, the weaning percentage, and then the death loss percentage. And it will also calculate several other efficiency measures for us. The next worksheet, the grazing information worksheet. This worksheet records the grazing data by parcel of land. Again, this is only a portion of the worksheet. It's much too large to show the complete worksheet on this slide. So producers will simply insert their data into the blue highlighted cells of the worksheet, and it's going to calculate several of our performance and grazing cost measures that are going to be used in the summary costs and returns budget. In addition, on this worksheet, in addition to the land rent, we're going to have fertilizer, lime, and weed control expenses that are going to be included into the grazing cost worksheet. The purchase and raised feed worksheet, it performs the calculations to determine your feed costs. This slide contains only a portion of the input data of this worksheet. The worksheet allows you to specify the type of purchase and raised feed, as well as the animal group that the feed is going to be fed to, such as brood cows, replacement heifers, bulls, and feeder calves. The feedstuffs, we're going to evaluate hay, baleage, energy and protein supplements, mineral and salt, and it also provides the user the opportunity to input additional alternative feedstuffs. Now, regardless of whether you purchase or raise it, feed costs are going to be high for most cattle operations. This worksheet is going to help producers identify what their feed costs are so they can begin to manage them. Now, the next worksheet is our animal health information worksheet. This worksheet is going to contain all our animal health information for our cow-calf operations. The animal health information is organized again by the group of animals being treated, such as brood cows, replacement heifers, bulls, and feeder calves. These basic health inputs are listed in the worksheet, but users also have the opportunity to insert additional health inputs if they wish. Simply insert the number of head, the quantity given, and the unit or the price per unit, and the worksheets are going to calculate your animal health costs for you. The next worksheet is our 2015 annual ownership costs. Now, our 2015 annual ownership costs are going to include our annual costs of capital assets, such as breeding bulls that you purchase, capital farm improvements like fences, corrals, wells, buildings, machinery equipment, our facilities, and the many other assets that we use for our cow-calf operations. Now this worksheet is going to take our basic purchase and salvage values of these assets and the life of the asset. It's going to calculate our ownership costs of depreciation, interest, repairs, taxes, and insurance for these purchased assets that our farm has. And then with some of those capital assets, we have our operating costs. So our next worksheet is our 2015 operating costs for machinery and equipment worksheet, which is going to estimate those operating costs for machinery and equipment for your cow-calf operation. Now this primarily includes the fuel, oil, lubricants, and labor to operate and maintain your machinery and equipment. It's often surprising to many cattle producers how much they'll spend on operating costs for machinery and equipment. It will definitely be high, and given the various uses that for tractors and implements around the farm. And then one more worksheet is the 2015 Other Expenses Information worksheet. This worksheet includes our management and labor requirements in order to operate the cow-calf enterprise. This worksheet allows both part and full-time hired or owner labor to be charged to the cow-calf operation. This sheet also contains some of those additional spaces for other expenses such as utilities, property taxes, and professional fees that are going to occur in your operation. Now the last worksheet, our marketing information worksheet, records the basic weights and prices per pound for various classes of cattle and calculates the costs associated with marketing your animals. Now these values are transferred into the final costs and returns budget. This is a very popular worksheet for many users evaluating the impact of what-if changes on the profitability of the operation. Okay, so now that we've recorded the data for our cow-calf operation, we're ready to look at the results. Remember that these results are going to be different than yours, as everyone has different inputs, has different investment costs, those capital improvements, and then have different levels of performance. So the cow-calf costs and returns are going to vary widely among cattle producers. Now, Table 1 presents the estimated revenue for a beef cow-calf herd of 150 head. The revenue is described by the type of animal, the number of head, the market weight, and the market price. This worksheet is going to calculate our dollars per head, total dollars, dollars per cow-calf unit, and dollars per acre. Now these are common measurements that are used to evaluate revenue on our cow-calf operations. Now Table 2 presents a summary of our estimated fixed costs for a beef cow-calf herd of 150 head. You might remember that those fixed costs are going to include depreciation, interest, repairs, taxes, and insurance, as well as land rent and full-time labor and management. Now the fixed costs of most cattle operations are large and require careful consideration to keep them from getting too large for the cattle to pay for. Now Table 3 presents the estimated variable or operating costs of the cow-calf herd of 150 head. Now these costs are summarized by category and expressed as total dollars, dollars per cow-calf unit, and dollars per acre. When looking at this table, producers definitely need to be able to cover their variable costs in order to continue to operate, especially if you're borrowing money to operate the business. Now, Table 4 presents our estimated returns of the beef cow-calf herd of 150 head. This table summarizes all of the revenues and costs from the various worksheets that you have completed. It measures the net returns above specified costs for the beef cow-calf operation. Again, this table is going to be very similar to net farm income that you have on your federal income tax form Schedule F. Now that you've completed the beef cow-calf budget, users are encouraged to do what-ifs in an effort to determine what changes to the operation might improve profitability. When doing these what-if changes, the number of evaluations that you can make are going to be unlimited. Now, Table 5 is our overall summary table. It's simply an abbreviated version of Table 4, just without all the detail. Sometimes it's just simpler for us to look at our revenues, fixed costs, and variable costs, and as well as the resulting net incomes above specified costs when comparing what-if alternatives for our cow-calf operation. Now, for this specific example, we had net returns of $25,051 or $204 per cow-calf unit or $57 per acre. Now, the last worksheet is our sensitivity analysis of gross revenue and calf production costs. This sensitivity analysis allows you to insert the percentage you want to evaluate, and it will automatically calculate the levels of estimated profit or loss per brood cow. Now, often we'll challenge ourselves to increase revenue or decrease cost by a given percentage. And sometimes we may want to do both. We want to increase our revenues and decrease our costs. For example, in our budget tonight, we projected our estimated profit to be $203 per brood cow, which is denoted by the blue highlighted line, the blue highlighted circle, for our 150 head herd. Now, using that example, the estimated profit per brood cow of $203 per brood cow. Let's play what if. If we could increase our revenue by 5% and decrease our cost by 5%, then we're going to increase our profit to $302 per brood cow for a gain of $99 per brood cow, which is going to be denoted by that purple circle. These are very worthy goals for our cow-calf operations. Now, regardless of which alternatives we want to evaluate, this sensitivity analysis shows you the results of such a change on your operation. Okay, so we've covered the worksheets and the output of the 2015 UF cow-calf budget. Now, I encourage you to take some time, download this spreadsheet, and try using it to help make good economic decisions. In summary, here are a few of the ways I think the beef cow-calf budget can improve your operation. The beef cow-calf budget provides you with a way to document those current production and marketing programs, a way for you to evaluate the profitability of future alternative production and marketing programs, such as changing your stocking rate, increasing your number of grazing days, comparing the use of alternative feed supplements, creep feeding calves, increasing your performance, preconditioning feeder calves, and then animal culling and replacement rates. It also provides producers with a very useful way to look at the sensitivity of various levels of costs and returns. And lastly, it allows producers to set goals for their beef cow-calf operations. As always, if you're looking for additional cow-calf information, please check out the Southeast Cattle Advisor website. And then I would like to thank you for tuning in this evening to the webinar, and good luck developing a beef cow-calf budget for your operation. We'll take a few minutes to try to answer a few questions that we've received tonight. Any questions that I don't get to, I will reply to you by email. Now, the first question that we received tonight was, does the cost of production really vary that much? And it really does. No two producers are going to have the same level of inputs, the same input costs, and those same capital investments in their land, machinery, equipment, and cattle. So I think the cost to carry a cow per year is going to vary widely among cattle producers. There's been a lot of studies that sometimes they've shown that high cost producers sometimes have 2 to 3 times the production costs of low cost producers. So they're going to vary for us. We got another question on what was the cost of production level that broke even, given the numbers that you used in the first webinar. And from that first webinar, what I said was if you could keep those calf production costs per brood cow at or less $720 per head, that you could be profitable over that 10-year projection period. However, I will say that those production cost levels were based on a 85% weaning percentage, and then selling those 525-pound feeder calves, as well as a few other variables. So we really have to review those specific variables in order to make that analysis for your operation. And then the last question we got this evening was, is there really anything wrong with just using cash costs or our variable costs to make decisions? And to answer this question, it's really going to depend on your goals and objectives. If your goal is going to be to make a profit, then I think you should use all of the costs. If you don't want to include all the costs, then you can buy more assets than your cows are going to pay for. So either you don't need to make a profit, or you don't plan on buying those depreciable assets, then just covering those cash costs would be fine. But I think it's more of a personal decision on just covering the cash costs. Now, I'll be happy to try to answer any of your other questions. My contact information is listed on the slide. I'd like to thank you for your time this evening, and I hope you'll join us next week as we discuss cow-calf profitability. Thank you. Good night, y'all.